Hello and welcome to Tim Conley Drums. Well, this is another sad video today, unfortunately, as I announce the passing at the age of 77 of legendary ZZ Top drummer Frank Beard. Now, before I get into the details, I just want to tell you about ZZ Top and how they influenced me. There's two drummers that heavily influenced me for playing shuffles. One is Ringo, because I think the Ringo Shuffle is one of the greatest shuffles of all time. But the other really great shuffle is, of course, Chris Layton from Stevie Ray Vaughan. Unbelievable, the Texas Shuffle. And I'm pretty sure that's the first place I ever heard the Texas Shuffle was with Stevie Ray Vaughan. But the real guy that could really lay down the Texas Shuffle and was an incredible shuffler, probably the greatest shuffler of all time, is Frank Beard. He was incredible. And listening to ZZ Top when they came out, I mean, I didn't listen to them in the 70s. It wasn't until I became a teenager in the 80s that I started to listen to them. And of course, their huge album, Eliminator, when that came out, I actually went and saw them perform live on that tour in Toronto. And I'll never forget it because seeing those guys with their long beards and the choreographed dance moves, and seeing Frank Beard with his elaborate drum setups, and it was really something special. I also remember Quiet Riot. They had that big song, Come On, Feel the Noise, and Mental Health, I think it was called, or Metal Health, sorry, Metal Health. Those two hit songs were out and they opened for them. And to this day, I always tell everybody, the two loudest shows I've ever seen were Quiet Riot opening up for ZZ Top, unbelievably loud. And second, of course, was Slipknot when I saw them about 8 or 9 years ago. But I mean, Slipknot, you expect them to be loud, but Quiet Riot, the venue was outdoors. So was Slipknot, they were both outdoors. But the technology in 1985 compared to the technology now, there's really no comparison. But I couldn't believe how that bass drum, every hit on that bass drum going right through my chest. So that ZZ Top concert, even though it wasn't Frank's bass drum necessarily that was doing that, it was the drummer from Quiet Riot. He was the one that was creating that. Now, as I recall, I'm going to guess, I can't remember exactly, but Frank's bass drum was probably just as powerful. But I just remember hearing Come On, Feel the Noise, and that bass going right through me, pounding through me. And I was like, wow, this is truly incredible. Anyways, Frank, he was one of the founding members of the rock trio ZZ Top, of course. He played on all their hit songs, Sharp Dressed Man, Legs, Gimme All Your Lovin', LaGrange, you name it. He was 77 years old when he passed away. He died in hospice care last Tuesday at his ranch in Richmond, Texas. He had family members at his side, and according to his publicist, Bob Merlis, band co-founder and guitarist Billy Gibbons, on tour with bassist Elwood Francis, hailed Beard in a statement. So Billy's statement was, "Today, Elwood and I lost a great friend and collaborator, and the world lost one of the most naturally innovative drummers and a great and true son of Texas. His signature backbeat was key to keeping ZZ Top on top. The band of which he was part of for 6 decades is going to keep on going." And exactly as Frank had wished. Now, apparently, they have a new drummer, Michael Monahan, and Michael had been filling in for Frank because he didn't just die suddenly. He had some illnesses, and he had some ankle problems, some wrist problems, and every time he couldn't play, Michael would fill in for him. So it's not a surprise to see Michael taking over his spot. I am a little surprised, though, that they only canceled 2 shows and they're continuing their tour. But apparently, again, I'm not going to judge, but this is what Frank wanted. Frank had stated that when I go, I want you guys to keep going, and you can do a tribute to me at the concert, whatever, but I want you to keep touring. And that's exactly what they're doing. So they're now only touring with Billy as the original member. Now, for many years, they formed in 1969, and for many years, they held a record for the longest original member band. I can't quote statistics, but I just know that they held the record for the three of them. Started it in 1968, 69, and they carried on for years and years. And the record basically stood up until 2021, until the bass player, Dusty, died. So, like I said, the trio formed in 1969, and they named themselves in part after blues singer Z.Z. Hill, and influenced by the British power trio Cream and Jimmy Reed. They maintained their original lineup for more than 5 decades, as I just mentioned. Their signature look, long bushy beards on Gibbons and Hill, and dark sunglasses for all, did not change much over the years. Their debut release, ZZ Top's first album, came out in 1970. Their sound was described as a hybrid mixing elements of rock, blues, and funk into a steaming hot Houston stew. They called themselves a little old band from Texas. Frank talked about that a lot. He always said that in interviews. We're just a little old band from Texas. So seemed like a pretty humble guy. I really liked that. 3 years later, they broke through commercially with LaGrange, which is my favorite ZZ Top song of all time. That intro with the rim, that shuffling rim feel, and then that really cool triplet drum fill leading into the shuffle. And like I said, Frank's unique shuffle. He had a very, very unique shuffle that I've never seen any other drummer do, which is a two-handed shuffle. Very, very unique. Most drummers play one-handed shuffles, but he had his two-handed shuffle, which was really, really cool. And I always liked Frank's shuffle feel. As I said, he's one of the greatest for that as well. So they had a song, LaGrange, of course, on the from the album Tres Hombres, or I'm probably mispronouncing that, Tres Hombre. I think that's the correct pronunciation. The song paid tribute to the Chicken Ranch. Now, this Chicken Ranch is a very famous chicken ranch. A brothel outside of a Texas town called LaGrange that operated in 1905 until 1973 and was immortalized in the Broadway show and film The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. So they actually wrote a song about a real place that actually existed, and they may have visited. It's possible, I don't know. Gibbons has ascribed the power of LaGrange to its simplicity. Just 2 chords and a Robert Johnson-inspired guitar solo. You know, another great song that I love of theirs is Tush. I mean, Eliminator was their big hit album, but I like a lot of their more bluesy stuff when they were a little bit less commercial in the 70s. But to each his own, I liked all their stuff. I only saw them that one time. I'm really kind of disappointed I didn't see them again, but you know, it is what it is. Now, a little history about the Beards, because that was the funniest thing about this band is they got 2 guys up front, bass and guitar, trio, giant long beards, glasses, can't even really see their face. It's almost like a costume. And then they got the drummer who also wore the glasses, but no beard, and his name was Frank Beard, and that's his birth name. So it wasn't a joke. I always thought that that was funny. And I'm sure that a lot of you out there always like their image. I love their image. I mean, I'll never forget that video when they brought those custom cars in. I think it was Sharp Dressed Man. The cars in that video is just incredible. I love those old cars that look like that. Those are the best. I love those cars. You can't see it in behind me, but I have a massive Matchbox old car collection that was I inherited from my father-in-law who passed away. And those cars are all old cars from the 20s up to the 60s that he collected. And I never touched them. They're in glass, immortalized behind me. And if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to look, but I think there's a ZZ Top car in there, I think. Anyways, about the Beards, the Beards happened by accident. In 1976, the band took a long break and scattered. They went to Jamaica, Hill went to Mexico, Gibbons went to France, so they were completely scattered. They were speaking on the phone because there was no video phone at the time, so they hadn't seen each other. And Dusty and Gibbons, or Frank, did not know that both of them had gotten so lazy that they decided not to shave. And Gibbons told this to the Tribune in San Francisco in 2010. So after 3 years, we finally got together and showed up. And lo and behold, here it is with this wacky looking image, both of them having these giant beards, and it just stuck, and they kept it, and they still have it to this day. Well, the living members, that is. And of course, Frank was always clean shaven. So this hit me pretty hard because I've always loved Frank. I've always loved his playing. Let me know what you guys, if you got any stories about ZZ Top, you saw them, you met them. I never got a chance to meet any of them. I've met lots and lots of celebrities and stars in my day as a musician, but I never got to meet ZZ Top. But like I said, I did see them live. So let me know in the comments what you guys feel about this and if you've seen them, etc., etc. And let's pay tribute to Frank. I'm going to be listening to a lot of ZZ Top over the next little while. So please like, subscribe, and as I mentioned, comment. And as always, keep drumming. See ya. Rest in peace, Frank Beard.